Banditos, I had to stop everything I was doing to give you the latest news on Seasons 2.0. Just a few moments ago, The Division posted this on Twitter. It says, got questions about Seasons 2.0? We've compiled answers to all your burning questions in our latest FAQ article, including how seasonal characters will work alongside and enhance your main character. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, so this is a brand new article The Division 2 just posted regarding Seasons 2.0. So if you've been out of the loop or on a different planet, then let me catch you up real quick. During the Ubisoft Forward event, the Division team had a couple of minutes of airtime to share all of what they've been working on. And during this time, they dropped the bomb on the community. They discussed Seasons 2.0 and the introduction of seasonal characters. That lit fire through the community. And ever since, the community has been in an uproar.
We know nothing. You are now up to speed.
I'm going to dig into this article with you and then provide my feedback. So bear with me here. Lots of talking points. Agents, we've heard your concerns regarding the introduction of seasonal characters in The Division 2 with Seasons 2.0 later this year. That's in 4 months, remember. We want to clarify how seasonal characters will impact your existing main characters and answer a few questions about Seasons 2.0. The main idea behind Seasons 2.0 is to break away from the current repetitive seasonal model by transforming the entire experience. And I am glad that there is some sort of change coming to Seasons. I myself am very tired of the current structure. It's been around since, 2021 or 2020? Basically since Warlords of New York. And I feel like it can be better. With your main characters, we need to consider various progressions and power levels, making it nearly impossible to create a well-balanced experience that is enjoyable for all. Starting all players at level 1 ensures that we have a clear understanding of where they are in their progression journey when faced with specific challenges. To put it simply, in order to craft challenges with precision, we need a fresh start. Part of me also thinks this is about the code. Have you noticed that every time the Division launches some sort of update, whether it's like the smallest update or the biggest one, things just break in this game? And I think by carving out a separate instance through the seasonal character, basically a separate game mode, they can control that environment better and maybe, or hopefully, stop breaking the game so much. But they here are talking about a balanced progression journey. So are we talking about power creep? What do you guys think? Additionally, seasonal resets bring another layer of excitement since modifiers are phased out at the end of each season, giving us the freedom to impact gameplay far beyond what permanent mechanics would allow. We omitted one important detail from the Year 6 introduction. Okay, let's listen closely here. With the revamped seasonal progression, you will have the opportunity to bring your main character into the last 2 weeks of each season, known as the Intermission. The Intermission allows you to revisit your main character with new content and seasonal progression, using your current arsenal for experimentation, strategy, and dominance. At the start of the Intermission, all rewards earned with the seasonal character, including SHD levels, proficiency, stash items, and collectibles, will be transferred to your main character. This transfer ensures that your main character will be more powerful than ever and prepared to tackle the season's climax, normal or master difficulty, should you choose to experience the remainder of the season with your main agent. Okay, so during the Intermission, which is basically between seasons, you're able to experience all of that seasonal content with your main character. This is the time where that seasonal character progression is going to be transferred over. During this time, the seasonal character will be added to your roster, giving you the option to play the season's climax mission with either the seasonal character or your preferred main character. So the character is not added to the roster until the season ends, so it's a separate roster up to that point. So what do? Log in as your seasonal character. So that means our loading screen is going to look different. It's going to be like 2 paths. I can't imagine what that looks like. In Seasons 2.0, seasonal character progression is significantly sped up. Not sure how I feel about that. Allowing you to reach level 40 more quickly and gain SHD levels at a faster rate, which sounds good on the surface, but wait. This progression will be shared with your main character at the start of the Intermission. Expertise upgrades will not be available for seasonal characters. Instead, the SHD watch bonuses will be increased to account for the missing power coming from expertise. So what do you hear there? They're downgrading the emphasis on expertise and upgrading the watch to give the player more power, except everybody's going to be at the same level. And that seems to be a big underlying theme to all of this. They want everybody to be at the same level, long-term players and beginning players. Proficiency can still be earned by seasonal characters and will be merged at the end of the season. Please note that proficiency alone does not impact the gameplay. Finally, as a seasonal character progresses to level 40, they will not have to complete the entire campaign again. Instead, they will have the freedom to choose which content they experience without worrying about completing certain missions for specific unlocks. So it sounds like you can go back through and pick and choose which content you want to tackle again. However, there is more to upcoming changes than just transitioning to seasonal characters. We will share with you more detailed info with live Q&A sessions, our PTS, and during various live streams in the coming months to guide you through these changes. Duboni expansion, I'm actually going to skip over this. Duboni expansion, what they cover here is a little bit outside of the scope of the topic here, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. Seasonal and non-seasonal characters. We will be given extra stash space and or extra character slots. Question, will we be given extra stash space and or extra character slots? An additional character slot will be added to support Seasons 2.0, along with extra storage space. However, it is worth knowing that no extra slots will be added for each individual season. We are now going to have 5 characters, but that 5th character is special, and they will have additional storage. But that storage isn't shared. There's more to this, and it's going to be a little bit confusing to explain. Let's go to the next question. Do I need to delete a character when a new season starts when all my slots are occupied? The answer is no, as additional slots will not be provided for each season. You will need to choose which character to retain in your main roster. So you can have 5 characters. You can choose any one of them to delete, is what they're saying. So starting with year 6, season 2, you can have up to 5 characters. For instance, in the beginning of year 6, season 2, if you already have 4 characters, you can utilize the additional slot to add a 5th. However, if you have 5 characters at the end of that season, then you will need to remove 1 to make room for the new seasonal characters. So you can only have 5 max, is what they're saying. I think it sounds like good news on the surface. Additional characters you would think would bring 150 more inventory slots, right? What is the point of keeping your main character if you can't use them for 90% of future content coming to the game? Great question. We have taken measures to ensure that both seasonal and non-seasonal characters have meaningful roles and cool things to do in the game. The current model reinforces the way a lot of players are using some characters as support for the main characters at the account level. They're talking about mules. That's a long-winded sentence to say the seasonal character is like a mule. Seasonal characters serve a similar purpose. On top of facilitating an awesome experience in the season through manhunts and modifiers, so instead of going through Woni, you're going to go through these little seasonal things. These seasonal activities. Additionally, seasonal characters also contribute to the overall account progression, which is represented through the power level of the main character. In other words, everything this seasonal character does transfers. The main character remains the foundation of the account, enabling players to take on challenges at the highest power and difficulty levels. Furthermore, upcoming DLCs will present a chance to take on challenges with your primary and its corresponding power level. Additionally, only non-seasonal characters will have access to legacy manhunts. Will there be any new content for the main non-seasonal characters? Non-seasonal characters will continue to have access to all existing game content, including both Woni and upcoming DLC. Right now, there are no intentions to introduce another incursion or raid. So no new content for your main character, except for the intermission. So your main character can participate in the final mission, the culminating mission of the season. Will seasonal characters have access to their existing recal library? The recalibration library will be shared between seasonal and non-seasonal characters. So yes, the only exception being season-specific gear. During the season, you can transfer season-specific gear talents to the library, where they will become accessible to your main character at the beginning of the intermission. So basically, while the season is active, our new characters cannot experience any of the new gear or even the talents. So even though they can go into the library, our main character can't use it until the intermission, which is only 2 weeks long. I don't get the timeline here. I hope seasons are a lot shorter because it's telling me my main character can't use any of the new content until the following season, basically. Well, the intermission, which is only 2 weeks, and then the following season. So it's like delayed access. I don't know how I feel about that. What do you guys think? We're going to get into some time here in a little bit, but the whole delayed gratification thing for our main character, it does feel like our main characters are a little obsolete. Will seasonal characters be able to use account-wide resources? Seasonal characters will have their own separate pool of shared resources and materials, which will not be shared with the non-seasonal characters pool. So their a mule without shared resources. Well, we'll just see what that means once we start using these seasonal characters. But if it's anything like starting a new character now, it sucks to not have materials. If you want to recalibrate something, you basically just can't. Builds become less of a thing, as a matter of fact. You ever notice that with your new character? You don't even really care about your build. You just kind of plug through and swap out things as you go, which isn't really that fun, I gotta say. Things really opened up in this game once we started actually getting into builds. When I have all my inventory and stash maxed out, will I lose the loot after the season ends and the seasonal character is merged with my regular roster? The answer is, once the season ends and intermission begins, you will be awarded a temporary stash to facilitate the transition of the seasonal items to the main pool. It is up to you to decide what to keep and what to discard or deconstruct during the process. However, please note that starting from year 6 or the following season, if you still have items in your temporary stash, you won't be able to create a new character. Ooh, I hate this one. I hate this one. This is going to be kind of really confusing to explain it to incoming players. But basically, it's going to work sort of like the contaminated loot. So you know how when you pick it up in the dark zone, it doesn't go in your inventory. It goes into a separate inventory, a compartmentalized inventory, and then you have to extract it, and then it goes into your stash. But even then, it's in the mailbox area, and then you have to transfer it over. Steps. So basically, they're doing that. So we're gonna have a temporary stash that only our seasonal character can load into. And then that means, I assume, that only new gear will be represented in that. I'm not sure how drops are gonna work. I'm not sure if we're gonna get regular gear drops with our seasonal character. I don't even know if builds are a thing with our seasonal character. They don't clarify that at all. Is it possible builds aren't a thing? Everything is gonna be built on modifiers? I have no idea. But either way, your character is going to have inventory, and then that inventory gets transferred into a stash, and everything from that stash you can transfer over to your main stash. A little clunky, but I don't know why we can't just share everything. Why can't we just share everything? Why can't we give our characters, our main characters, immediate access to new gear as we get it? What's wrong with that? That transfer of stuff is only at that intermission period. How will my hardcore characters be impacted? At the start of each season, you will have the option to select either a hardcore or regular seasonal character. Wow. This choice provides the opportunity to add an additional hardcore character to your roster. All right. Will seasonal characters have access to global events? Global events, as they are right now, will remain exclusive to non-seasonal characters. Well, that's good. At least we'll have something to do with our main characters. They will adhere to the established rotation model already present in the game. Seasonal characters may eventually receive their own global events. Manhunts. Let's talk about manhunts. Will the new master difficulty be in any way available for non-seasonal characters? And the answer is yes. I think we've known this. So the climax mission will have a master difficulty, and this will be available for both seasonal and non-seasonal characters during the intermission, a 2-week period between the seasons. Now, that's fine. So you have the choice, right? You can use your seasonal character, your main character at this stage. The intermission is only 2 weeks, though. So what I don't understand is, the climax mission permanent? Do we unlock it and always have access to it, or do we only have 2 weeks to play it? Is it going to work like a legacy manhunt, where we have to enable it to play it, or can it just be there? I mean, I really hope that it's there beyond just those 2 weeks. I really hope it unlocks as a game mode, or I guess a mission that we can always play. Otherwise, 2 weeks to enjoy something it's kind of lame. That would be lame. All of this work leads up to a mission we can only play basically once. Why tie the manhunt to the seasonal character's participation? In Seasons 2.0, the optimal way to experience the story is through the seasonal structure, utilizing a character with the appropriate power level to capitalize on features such as gameplay modifiers and seasonal items. The story will be adjusted to accommodate this new dynamic, with multiple agents fulfilling their roles throughout the season. Moreover, after the season ends, players can opt for the climax mission using either their seasonal or primary character. That still doesn't clarify my question, whether we get the climax mission permanently. It says after the season ends. Well, that's the intermission, which is only 2 weeks. Are they saying permanently from that point forward? I don't know. But what they're talking about here, again, is power creep. They want to level the playing field, and that's why they're tying this all to the seasonal character. Basically, just think of the Descent game mode. So when you go into the Descent game mode as a new player and you're playing alongside a person that has been playing this game since 2019, your characters are at the same level and can contribute the same. So the only differentiator at that point is going to be skill. So they're trying to make it a more balanced experience for new players, at the same time trying to avoid power creep. In other words, as they introduce a modifier, they don't want it to break the game where the experienced player and all his expertise and all of his gear, maybe the nemesis, just destroys the content. Basically, they're saying in not so many words that they're losing control of that capability. It becomes harder and harder to introduce gear and new game modes because of where we are with our characters and all the tools that we have, which is maybe why we keep getting lame exotics. Maybe that explains it all. Okay, so seasonal journey. What will this season 2.0 consist of? Well, there are 15 weeks of a season. 15 weeks. 15 weeks. So basically, we're on the same 4-month rotation, but there's more. So there are 15 weeks of varied activities such as seasonal missions, seasonal projects, manhunt scouts, and priority objectives to be completed with your seasonal character, followed by a 2-week intermission period during which you can utilize your main character. So it's 15 weeks plus 2 weeks between each season, making every season average 16 weeks is what that is. So they've adjusted that for the calendar. Okay, either way, that's a 4-month season. Ugh. Your non-seasonal character can be accessed at any time during the season, but with no access to seasonal content except for the 2-week intermission. So we can always use our main characters as a separate instance. So log out, log back in. Approximately how long is the accelerated grind to level 40 expected to take? So remember, your seasonal characters can go from 1 to 40. That's what they're asking here. So non-seasonal characters will require approximately 45 hours to complete, while seasonal characters are expected to take around 15 hours for the same activities. So 15 hours to take on all of the activities that are going to be leaked to us week by week over 15 weeks. So do the math there. That's 1 hour per week. So they're saying that they only expect us to use our seasonal character for 1 hour per week. Doesn't sound like much of a season, right? So non-seasonal characters can't participate in the season, but they're just giving that for a comparison purpose. If we were to have access using our non-seasonal characters, our main characters, it would take us 3 times as long. So it's a 3x speed up. Why don't they just put it that way? Either way, they just told us that it's 1 hour a week worth of content. That's what a season is going to consist of. Am I interpreting that right? Do you guys see that? Did you see where I'm getting that data? So there are 15 weeks of varied activities, such as missions and projects. That's in the question before. And then down here, they say, well, how long will it take? Well, seasonal characters is expected to take around 15 hours to get to level 40, which is the end, the fully leveled up deal. I'm assuming that lines up. Well, let's read on to see if that clarifies. But that's what I'm thinking it's saying. Will the seasonal grind to level 40 consist of the same current activities, or will it be different each season? So to reach level 40, the seasonal journey will act as a guide, providing simple and quick challenges that offer great completion rewards. Simple and quick challenges, while also aiding the player through unlocking key game systems. Additionally, at every point, players can complete a variety of other activities in the game at an increased progression rate. Each season will feature unique seasonal modifiers that affect both players and enemy NPCs, providing a different experience in previously played content. So that does align with my thoughts, because right here it's saying providing simple and quick challenges. So, 1 hour a week, it's like a weekly project. Our seasons are turning into a weekly project. Okay, will the seasonal story beats be introduced during the level 1 to 40 grind, or will players need to reach level 40 to experience them? So basically they're saying the new story content is no longer locked behind level 40 characters or the end game, so you can experience this at whatever level. And it's same thing for season rewards. So it doesn't matter where you are, you'll be able to get those season rewards. So if you're at level 15 character, like you just started the game, then you'll be able to participate. What happens with seasonal collectibles? During the intermission period, which occurs in the final 2 weeks before the end of the seasons, all rewards obtained from the seasonal character, such as SHD levels, proficiency ranks, stash items, and collectibles will be transferred to your main character. Will we get access to the SHD watch? In Seasons 2.0, seasonal character progression is significantly sped up, allowing you to reach level 40 more quickly. We saw that above, that's 15 hours. And gain SHD levels at a faster rate. This progress will be shared with your main character at the end of the season. That kind of sucks. However, fast progression will only be possible up until a certain level. Upon reaching it, the SHD watch progression will resume at a normal speed. So I'm guessing that certain level is level 40. Why can't my existing level 40 character engage in the seasonal content? The main objective of Seasons 2.0 is to ensure that all players can participate in in-game content at a level playing field. Why? Why does everybody have to be at a level playing field? Why does the video game have to be that fair? it's not our fault. We've been playing since 2019. You know what I mean? Like a long-time players. I mean, why can't we just be somebody that new players look up to? Like, I mean, don't we give new players something to aspire to? Isn't that the idea? As well as allowing us to fine-tune the experiences based on more controlled progression. So basically, they don't accidentally want to create a God mode that has a player blasting through content. Reading between the lines, they're saying it's becoming more and more difficult to introduce new things without accidentally breaking the game from a power creep instance. Anyways, additionally, modifiers and season resets provide levers to ramp up gameplay challenges far beyond what any permanent mechanics would allow, thus avoiding long-term consequences. Yeah, so same thing. So they're worried about power creep at this stage, which is fair, but it seems punishing. So as far as PvP, none of this stuff really is going to affect PvP. Seasonal characters will only be able to matchmake with other seasonal characters at an appropriate level. Any modifiers are PvE exclusive, and DZ pulls are separate between seasonal and non-seasonal characters. So when you're matchmaking in a season with a seasonal character, you're going to matchmake with other seasonal characters at the same level. And hopefully there's enough players in the pool to make that a pleasant matchmaking experience. This is my take. So there's a lot of details in here. Not too many surprises, to be honest with you. I'm really concerned about like how much time proportionately we're going to be spending in this season. It actually sounds low, which is good and bad. You know, if you're spending too much time with your seasonal character, then you really are de-emphasizing your main character. But at the same time, it feels like we're not getting much in the form of actually new content. And what I don't like is like the gear stuff. I mean, what is the gear drops going to be looking like? Are we still going to be looking at 3 exotics plus a gear set, brand set, a couple of named weapons, whatever? And if so, how crappy is it that we can't actually use that stuff with our main character on our builds that we love until the end of a season, basically the intermission period? Such a delayed gratification. So there's 15 weeks of seasonal activities and then 2 weeks of intermission. So, wow, you know, that's a lot of time of only being able to enjoy the season from a new content perspective using the seasonal character, but not from the other type of new content, which a lot of us consider the gear as new content, because it allows us to experience missions, whether they're new or old, in different ways. It makes the game dynamic, the builds. I don't really like that part, you know, about it. I don't see the point either. Why not give us immediate access to everything that we're earning through our seasonal characters? Why can't we share watch resources? I think they're saying, well, because if your watch is bigger, then you're gonna have an advantage over a new player, but it's cooperative, you know? So like, I don't know. I don't like that part of it. I don't like the delay of our main character getting access to things. And then, like I said earlier, I really hope that those climax missions stay unlocked permanently so that they're adding to the main character's experience for the long run. But otherwise, I'm saying, you know, I think this is also a coding issue. Like, I think that every time these devs introduce something to break in the game, and this is a way for them to manage that, that's respectable. But I feel like if that is the case, maybe they can be a little bit more forward about that. Maybe there can be some compromises here. And then lastly, stash space is something that we all talk about. It's a big issue. So we get this 5th character. It does bring more stash space, but it seems like it's compartmentalized and isolated for the seasonal character. And then we have this intermediate stash, which is used more like a mailbox. So it doesn't seem like it's actually adding much on a permanent basis for stash space, only temporary. I hate to say it, but it feels like we're being punished, even if you haven't been in the game that long. I mean, if your watch is like 1,000 and you're just getting there being like at a comfortable place with your character, all the new content is going to omit that investment. And, you know, they want all of the players to participate in in-game content at a level playing field. They want to fine-tune the experience based on a more controlled progression. Why do they want to control our experience so much? A little bit of power creep is not a big deal. There's a lot of games out there where the player is extremely powerful and people are having a ton of fun playing those games. Now, I love the challenge in the Division 2, so I don't want to be that way. But I'm saying this seems to be a little bit of an extreme measure. And I feel like they're trying to control too much of that. And I've said in the past, and I'll say it right here, there's lots of ways to introduce new content and really cool things without pushing this over the top with our power levels. I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you guys feel about this discussion? Does it make you feel better? I mean, we definitely got some more clarity on a few items. Here's the other part that I'm going to break down for you. So this stuff has been in development for a long time. Probably, I'm speculating, since the time in which they announced the Seasons 2.0, which was probably about a year ago by now, or Division Day is what it was. So, you know, this stuff has been in development for a long time. Think of what they had to do here related to the code. They had to open up the code for another character. They had to open up the code for another login screen. They had to create additional compartmentalized stash. They had to create new game modes, new transfer capabilities, all the mechanics and modifiers that are going to happen to us and the NPCs, new missions. All this stuff is designed. This game mode is going to launch. Seasons 2.0 is launching in under 4 months. So you got to be crazy if you don't think this stuff is relatively baked in. At this stage, any possible changes are probably minor. It would be minor changes they would actually be able to implement. You know, during the PTS, which would be probably a month to 2 weeks before this thing launches, it's basically the feedback they're looking for is it broken or is it working? So to put it in a nutshell, as it is written, it shall be. Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is Tuxedo Bandido, and this was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.
I get it.